Hello friends, thank you for joining us here. Tight Coverage Sports Show, thrilled to be with you here. Special preview segments with myself, Craig Ballard, Juno Award winner Mike Pope.
What's up?
Dr. Dre, aka Andre Nurse.
Yes, sir.
So why the special preview segment? Well, business has picked up as far as the 1 seed is concerned and the finish to the season is concerned for your Toronto Raptors. So didn't want to wait a couple weeks to get going with this. Wanted to talk to you now about the Raptors. Take a look at, gentlemen, this was a scenario that was a foregone conclusion, not just a 1 seed in the East, also things like Dwayne Casey, the coach of the year. Raptors were on a 21-3 run. Literally 1 point more scored or 1 point less given up in February. Literally would have been a historic month. Then the calendar turned to March. This is now a 3-4 run for the Raptors. All 3 wins against non-playoff teams. And believe me, I give them full marks for that, guys. You have to take care of business against the teams that you have to take care of business against. I'm there. But the 4 losses, gentlemen, all against playoff teams. All against teams that we'll very, very likely see in the playoffs as well. The Cleveland Cavaliers, the Boston Celtics, certainly being the most recent one, and the Cavs and Celtics on the schedule coming up. So a very big, and in my opinion, we'll get into this, very important finish coming to the season for the Toronto Raptors. But this team in March has looked nothing like, we compared it to February, compared to the entire season. What we've seen, in particular from the team defense in March, certainly has me pulling out my long, luxurious hair. If you remember how beautifully coiffed I used to be. Then this run began from the Raptors where they've become unrecognizable. Let's start with you, Mike Pope. The last, say, at least 2 weeks, say 2.5 weeks or so, unrecognizable, in particular the team defense unrecognizable. What's been going on, or are you concerned?
If you know me, I've been a very outspoken critic about Dwayne Casey.
Well, I do know you, and I know in particular one of your problems with Dwayne Casey is his ability to adjust.
That's right. That's right. And although I did see a hint of it in that he actually came out with his bench in the game against Boston. As opposed to going back to the starters, he came back with his bench and trying to get something going for them. Trying to get something going.
Which was an adjustment because the Cleveland collapse from the other day, that was your main criticism from that game.
It was the fact that they went back to the starting lineup and So yes, that was an adjustment there that was made. But I think there has to be those adjustments even more so as we get closer. To your point about the zone that was seen. That zone is something... One of my little problems with Dwayne Casey, we're seeing Coach Stevens apply different defenses to throw teams in loops. And then here we go with a defensive-minded coach as our head coach, and I'm not seeing that.
In fact, they're getting further and further away from playing really good team defense as we've gotten closer to the finish line. Andre, here's Pope talking about the defensive lapses. Here's Pope talking about the adjustments being made in the rebounding. I'm looking at things as well, and first of all, agree on all points. I'm looking at things as well across the board. If your name is not Kyle Lowry in the month of March, your numbers have taken a step backwards. In particular, across the board, the assists per game. Here we are talking about the defense, and I'm certainly having issues with the Toronto Raptors defense right now. Even the offense, gentlemen, has not at all been what we've seen this entire season from this very deep team. So, Andre, same 2 questions to you. What's been going wrong? Are you concerned?
I'm not that concerned. And I know I'm forever the optimist when it comes to the Raptors. I know this, but I'm not that concerned. I'm concerned because we all, as Raptor fans, have that little fear that we've been dealing with for all these years, right? And will it be different this time? You know, and I get it, but I'm not that concerned because I think right now is a case of Casey just tweaking with the lineup, trying to figure out his fight. He has his plan. He knows what he's going to do. It's worked every single month except March because he hasn't been doing what he has been doing every other month. To a degree he has, but not entirely. I saw a lineup last night with Pirtle and Valanciunas in the same lineup together. I've never seen that before, not even once. And if I have it, it's probably been like a minute. Right. But I think he's just trying different things for this team in case he does need to make the adjustments. He knows what works. In the last game against Cleveland, sorry to take it back to that, we were up by 17 points against Cleveland. We were blowing them out, and then he started making those. We got a little bit tired also making those adjustments. They came back and won. Granted, whatever he was doing didn't work. But I think he knows what it takes to beat certain teams.
The one positive, and it might be small to other people, the positive that I saw in that loss to Boston, we did see that little brush up that happened at the end.
Yeah.
The one positive that I take, and I'm like, I had to say, yo, if you guys were here, I'd give you a pat on the back. They did not react.
Yes.
They did not react to the reffing
Gotcha.
at all. They were actually composed.
Yes.
So I that was beginning to be a problem because we were starting to be labeled as complainers.
Yeah, we were.
And when we didn't react, we saw what happened to Boston and who got kicked out and who, you know what I mean, who got ejected from the game. It was Morris. So.
First of all, home court only affects us with Boston. It doesn't matter. We have home court against Cleveland, regardless.
Absolutely correct. And very important against Boston. The Celtics 33-4 when they hold an opponent under 100, which includes 2-0 against the Raptors at Boston this year. So very important against the Celtics.
I hate to go back, but those two games, the only one that they really won was the last one, I think.
33-4 when they hold an opponent under 100.
Yeah.
Those are massive numbers.
Those are
Yeah, and the Raptors average what, 114 points, 16 points a game, which is number one in the East in terms of scoring.
The Toronto Raptors do not beat the Celtics if the Celtics have home court. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, that's on the table. That concerns me. Doesn't concern these gentlemen.
No, not
it concerns the heck out of me.
Cleveland, but not Boston. Boston does not. I'm not. Listen, book it, whatever. I am not concerned about the Boston Celtics. I am saying it. And this week we're going to beat the Boston Celtics by double figures in Boston. I promise you.
He's good with these predictions. I'll say that. He's good with these predictions. He doesn't just. There's not a lot of bluster. Well, when you predicted other victories before it's happened.
Well, and I've also had losses, but yes.
Yeah,
but
you're human. Yes.
But I remember us destroying Boston. I remember when it was a point earlier in the season, and sorry to go back, when it was like Boston is the beast of the East, Toronto is the coming up team, and when they played national,
and where was that game played?
It was in Toronto. Yeah, but my
is this a mic?
No, you might as well pick that back up because that might as well just automatically flow back into your hand.
So if I may, because
Yeah.
right now it's going to be a back and forth because Craig is going by statistics and numbers in terms of
massively favoring the home team.
in terms of if Toronto's the away team, he's saying by numbers, Raptors are in the lower half of that.
We've also never seen the Raptors win a big playoff game on the road in our entire existence.
We've never seen this Raptor team in the playoffs either.
No, very true.
Exactly.
Very true.
So that's good.
True. And I guess in the past against Cleveland when they were sweeping through everybody, the 1 or 2 wins that we did get was
The two
wins were at home. In the conference rounds. Yeah.
Most fun of it. I saw the 92 and 93 World Series for the Blue Jays. Those two, that Game 3 and Game 4 in 15 against the Cavs, where we won those together. As much fun as I've ever had as a fan in any sport ever. That was amazing, man. That was amazing. But of course, the Cavs restored order once it went back home to Cleveland for Game 5.
Hold up. Why don't we start talking about the 69 Celtics while we're at it? No, we're talking about this team. Team right now. And that's the thing that people, this is a different
everything's
team.
unproven though.
Exactly.
So that's why he's going by numbers.
But this has been a different animal. But the whole point is that we can throw in the word has been. That's my question. Have things turned? Have we seen this 3-4 run from the Raptors right now, where all 4 losses have come against playoff teams again? Let's remember that.
And this is the first fall for the entire season.
What a bad time to have your first fall. What a bad time. I don't like the idea of limping to the finish line.
I don't either, but at the same time, if you're more consistent with something for the entire season, and at the end is you go through one little patch, I'm not going to just discredit the entire season and say it doesn't matter, but now, look, it's the same old Raptors, and that's essentially what we're doing.
Well, we don't know if it's a little patch right now. This upcoming week is going to tell a lot.
Exactly.
We'll be singing a different tune. If we get drubbed at Cleveland again, there I am again with it. If we lose at Cleveland, and if we lose to the Celtics, you'll be whistling a different tune. I don't think it's going to happen.
I won't
don't
be,
get me wrong on that.
But I don't think I'm going to whistle that different tune, and the reason for it is that this is the one little patch throughout the season. I am not discrediting everything that they've done. If you're consistently doing something and then you just have one, if you're consistently bad throughout this season, then fine, I get it. But we've been good. We've been good this entire season. Yeah.
Number 1 seed.
Again, I'm more along the lines of playoffs. They're going to take advantage of the clearing holes that we have, regardless of how good we are or how bad we are at a way. We're going to beat ourselves. The Toronto Raptors will beat themselves if they don't. Let's start with taking care of the ball in clutch. Rebounding is something that can go here or there with the Raptors. Let's talk about turnovers. Let's talk about taking care of the small things.
Yeah.
If we don't, we will lose. in those venues that the crowd becomes the sixth man on the court for them against them,
Which influences the referee.
which exactly
Very true. And
exactly it starts to snowball that way.
And also, and if LeBron doesn't have his major games,
Which he will.
Well, we don't know that yet until it happens, right? So
Safe to
my
assume.
point exactly. So
Yeah.
why are we assuming that Toronto is automatic? Are we looking at passing? My point is, we gotta see what happens. We have to watch the games and see what happens. And most of the season we've been here, right? Most of the season.
Great.
So, I mean, anything could happen. Any team could beat any other team if they don't do what they're supposed to do, right?
Right.
I think Toronto does more what they're supposed to do than they have not. We've seen 4 games where they have not so far this season.
Now
So-
there I would thoroughly disagree, because in the last couple of weeks, even the games we've won, the defense has been unrecognizable.
And I was gonna say that too.
Unrecognizable,
If-
in
if-
particular the team defense.
If they do, to Dre's point, if they do what they're supposed to do, like everything has been a step back, whether like in terms of
Lately, I mean.
lately.
Yes, absolutely. In the
Everything
month
has
of
been a-
March,
has been a
that was
step back.
unrecognizable, that's exactly correct.
So if they do what they're supposed to do, Dre, in terms of okay, maybe they did turn over the ball the same
Okay.
amount of times as they do now.
Yeah.
Maybe they did in the past,
Mhm.
but back then it was less iso ball back then.
Yeah.
I mean, coming up here to this point.
Gotcha.
Now we're reverting back to more iso ball. Now we're not doing the things that got us to the point. Now, can we make those adjustments in the playoffs? For sure, but it's a different animal. It's a different animal when you're in enemy territory and you're going up against all the elements.
But
And-
sorry.
And if we're not taking care of the ball, we're being affected by the crowd. We're being affected by the play that's coming at us, and we already have statistically more of a losing record in those territories. I understand why Craig is saying what he's saying, and to a point it kind of goes back. They just have to make sure and take care of everything that they've been doing in the playoffs.
And don't forget as well, John, that's big picture wise. Small picture, when you're zeroing in on the game itself, never mind the stats of the home team versus, when you're zeroing in on the games itself, we've seen time and time and time again. The home team, the role players, you cannot win without your role players being big. And those role players, they step up time and time again at home. Those are the rims they've shot at many times. Those are the sight lines they've shot at many times. They're not being distracted. They got people cheering for them. The role players, Robert Ory, the list goes on and on of players throughout the year, and the Raptors are no exception. They're no different. The role players play significantly better at home. Another reason why I've got extreme emphasis on this week, on this close to the season for the Raptors. I felt like that Cavs game a couple weeks ago really restored order. I thought that's what the Cavs did in that game, was restore order in the East. All of that goes out the window on Tuesday, April 3rd, if the Toronto Raptors can find a way to win at Cleveland. And in particular, my concerns go out the window if they follow that up the very next night with a game against the Boston Celtics. And we've noted, gentlemen, the Celtics don't come in here fresh as a daisy. The night that the Raptors play Cleveland, it will be a back-to-back for the Raptors as we play Boston the next night. It'll also be a back-to-back for Boston because they are at Milwaukee.
Yeah, but
that
our
previous night
back-to-back,
as well.
our back-to-back is a little bit tougher than theirs. Let's be real about it. Who are you going against? The Greek Freak, or are you going against LeBron? We're going against LeBron.
Well, absolutely, but
Our
it's not in other scenarios we've seen where that other team was literally sitting in Toronto waiting for us to show up on the other end of back-to-backs. That's not the case. The Celtics absolutely have their hands full. So you see here at Tight Coverage, we're the three bears of the Toronto Raptor prediction. The kind of cold, warming up, and then on fire for sure, representing the East. Hope you enjoyed that segment. We had a lot of fun bringing that to you. Again, as we said earlier, remember that you can follow us at @tight_coverage. We'd love to hear from you on Twitter. Of course, we look forward to interacting and following you and hearing your thoughts as well.
Get at us.
Yeah, please do.